Okay, so the next thing we're going to learn is that there are some extensive notes here. They're at that URL right there. And that'll take you to these notes. And this document is 300 pages long. And it's an outline for the course that you'll find on Greater Commons, HTML and CSS right there. So that's an amazing resource, amazing outline for HTML and CSS. And so super extensive notes. And the next thing we're going to learn is, well, you know, other good resources are MDN websites, MDN, caniuse.com, and then also Shay How Learn HTML CSS. Okay, and it's HOWE. So that's a great document there too. And now we're going to look at editors. So you already saw me working in this editor here. This is GoLand. This is produced by JetBrains, a company of JetBrains, and you could also just do JetBrains Student. And it's free for students, so you could go get JetBrains. I would recommend WebStorm. WebStorm is an IDE, and it's going to be very similar to what I use in this class. Or you could use whatever you want.
Is that a WebStorm?
WebStorm, yeah. Or you could use whatever you want. You could use VS Code. That would be my second choice. So VS Code, how many people already have an IDE that they use? You got one, what do you use?
IDE?
Yeah.
I only think my computer broke down. I'm not gonna lie to you. My
Yeah.
computer broke down. I'm trying to fix it. So I'm like really dealing with Daniel.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
So he's gonna show me.
Okay. All right.
Down.
All right. So you might go and download and install WebStorm. So sign up as a student, or you could go with VS Code. So WebStorm. And WebStorm right here, download. You could also use VS Code. Is a good one. So Visual Studio Code. So those are both fine editors. And then when you come into your editor, it's an environment that's going to help you write code. So, you know, if I create a new HTML document, create a new folder, and then create a new HTML document, call it index. Index is the traditional name for an HTML file, for if there's only one. And you can see here that we have the HTML tag, opening and closing. We have the head tag. We have the body tag. And then we have doc type, which just says, hey, this document, the type of it is HTML. Doc type declaration. And then there's a little meta tag. It's meta information. You're like, I don't know what meta is. So you go meta, MDN. And meta represents metadata that cannot be represented by other HTML related elements, right? So it's just metadata. Meta is like additional information. So the metadata here is attribute carset UTF-8. If we look for carset, right, it talks about carset in here. Like here are the different attributes for the tag. So when a tag here, this tag meta has the attribute carset, and it's set to something, right? And this attribute declares the page's character and coding. So all things in computers come back to a coding scheme. Computers are like your porch light on Halloween. What's it mean if the light is on? Come trick or treat. What's it mean if the light's off?
Don't bother my door.
Don't bother my door. Right? There is a coding scheme associated with that circuit switch in the on-off state. If the circuit switch is on, the coding scheme says trick or treat here. If the circuit switch is off, the coding scheme says go away. That's how computers work. Except instead of one circuit switch like your porch light on Halloween, computers have billions of circuits and switches. And so when a certain group of circuits and switches are an arrangement of on and off, and by the way, I'm tired of saying on and off, so I'm going to say 1 and 0 instead. 1 means on, 0 means off. And if you've ever looked at the power symbol, because most people don't know this, you have got a 1 and a 0, which means on, off, which is the button that allows you to turn things on, off. So 1 is on, 0 is off. It's all about whether something's on or off. Computers have a whole bunch of circuits and switches, which they could set into on-off states, and then they could check them. And then if it's in this arrangement of 1 and 0, it means the letter A. We create coding schemes. Or it means red, or it means oh. It's that one pitch right there. Right? So we get these zeros and ones, and then we have coding schemes to say what they mean. There's a bunch of coding schemes out there for text, for sound, for colors. UTF-8 is the world's most popular, widely used coding scheme for text. It was created by, incidentally, the same people who created the Go programming language, because they're geniuses. There we go. So car set UTF-8 just means that we're using the UTF-8 encoding scheme. All right, so we created our little page there. We're doing it in our editor. In WebStorm, you'd be able to come over here and pop that open, and it would go into your browser. But because I'm in GoLand, maybe I need to update it, right? Because I'm in GoLand, it doesn't have that little thing. I'll have to do a little Google search to see if it does it. But so then I just right-click it, and I choose Reveal in Finder, and then I double-click it from there, and it opened up. I didn't put anything on this page. If I came back to put something on the page, my page, yo, something, and then came back over here and double-clicked it. You know, now it's my page, yo. That's the title. And something. And all this code can be found at GitHub, goes to 11. HTML, CSS Bootcamp. So here's all the code. I'll put this into our little document. Okay, there's all the code. And you don't need to know this yet, maybe not at all. But I'm going to launch my terminal, and then I'm going to cd to documents, and then into HTML. And then I'm going to do a git add -- all, git commit -m, yo, you're doing great, and a git push. And so I just pushed all that code up to GitHub. And so now at GitHub, I could come in here and I could look in temp or not. Where are we? We're in 00 temp 35 spring 2018, 00 temp. Oh, zeros. So here it is. I put it up at the top, 035. I'm going to change that. Rename. Refactor, rename. Take out the 0. Control-Shift F6. Control-Shift function. Shift F6. There we go. And now I could just add all that in again. And refresh. Refresh. Cool. So here's spring, and then 02, and then there's that page we just built. Nice. How many of you done GitHub stuff already? Rio's class. Cool. So the code's all up on GitHub. You could get to it, and that's using IDE, and you guys could use whatever IDE you want. And I think if you look on these machines, there's something you could use. And you could push up to GitHub when you're done. You can pull down when you get to class, change your code, push up, you know.
I gotta figure out my Rio had to sign in like when I first took the class. I gotta find locate my information.
Okay. I'm sure they have a password recovery or something. Awesome. That is using an editor.